Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Music. So today we're going to look at violins on OfferUp, but specifically violins that are labeled as antique. Here we have an antique violin, $50, used to be $80, so we're getting a bargain. It says the condition is used, normal wear. It says trademark made in Nippon, which is Japan. Twos labeled inside the violin, eyes twos. Some strings are missing, and wood is worn down in spots, but doesn't seem to be anything too major. Might even be able to restore to play again. Otherwise, nice conversation piece. Well, let's see what conversation it starts. Okay, let me just tell you what's going through my head. Let's start left to right. On the left, we have this pretty significant gash where the wood's just splitting, and this is not in a spot where repairs are nice and easy. Like if you have a split going from one of the F-holes to the instrument, so if we had a crack right here, that would actually be fairly easily fixed, but this one gives us some more complications. And here's another sort of split forming, it looks like, by the F-hole. These gashes by the F-holes are really strange. I don't really understand how those formed, but it looks a little malicious. What I'm really drawn to is up here on the fingerboard. There seem to be carvings, maybe to show where fingers were supposed to go. Aside from that, everything looks normal. Like it's normal to not see all the strings on a used violin. These sorts of chips on the side of the instrument are normal, but the other things are a deal breaker. This is the next picture. This fingerboard just was abused. Here you can see the damage on the F-hole from a different angle. The back of it looks like it's held up really well. There's tape stuck on the instrument, which is nasty. Judging from the tape over here and the carvings on the fingerboard, it almost looks like an irresponsible orchestra or violin teacher had something to do with this, which is scary because I'm an orchestra teacher and I would never let an instrument get this bad. Our next violin is a made in Berlin special copy Antonio Stradivarius violin needs restored. It says someone started to restore this and gave up apparently. Okay. What they've done here while they were restoring it is they took the fingerboard off, and a person might do that if the fingerboard is just really worn. The body itself actually appears to be in good condition. I'm not seeing any cracks, none of the wood is splitting, everything looks really solid. Definitely in need of a fresh coat of varnish and just some general cleaning overall. The best way I can describe it is when you look at a worn down house and you say it has good bones, structurally everything's there. And then they're showing it up close. The grain of the instrument's really pretty. They'll probably want to replace this saddle if they can. It just looks like it's been used a bunch. This violin really has a beautiful shape to it, and the back is gorgeous. This would just be stunning with a fresh coat of varnish. It's nowhere near being played, but I do hope someone finishes restoring it. Here we have an old French violin for $500. Has typical thick red varnish. I love red varnish. Good sound, and these violins are great for their price. It's in good condition. There are some dents in the top plate, and a small crack in the varnish on the ribs, which they say is due to the thickness of the varnish. This person sounds at least like they know what they're talking about. Comes with a damaged case and a not damaged bow. Just in case someone didn't know this, violin cases do not get better with age. There is no antique violin case that I would spend money on. Anyway, this is a gorgeous instrument. I really love that red varnish. There are some small places where it's had wear, but overall this is kind of the condition that I would expect an older violin to be in. You can see there's a tiny bit of wear right here, which you get from playing the instrument, and oftentimes instruments that are played frequently are just in better condition, kind of like how houses that are lived in are in better condition than houses that have been abandoned, so I don't mind seeing little bits of wear like that. The scroll has an interesting shape to me. It's kind of fatter than what I see on my violin, and the back of this is just in gorgeous condition. It's a pretty instrument. It needs a chin rest, but that's super easy, and otherwise it looks like you could pick it up and play it right now. I hope someone buys it. Next we have an old school violin for $200. And this is it. First impressions, case is worthless, bows are worthless. I actually heard that bows generally don't age as well as violins do. They tend to degrade a little faster. And then on the violin itself, there are some interesting things. Artwork on the tailpiece and the overall shape of the tailpiece is not super typical. Picture's a little blurry, but I don't see any major cracks. This bridge is way too high up on the body. I think these are kind of where the markings in the F-holes are. So the bridge should come back here, where the wear and and tear marks are. If this is a rosin mark, it kind of looks like something a fiddle player might have played on. Everything up here looks okay, actually. And this is interesting. It says First National Institute violin. A quick Google search indicates that these are older violins and that they kind of have a fiddle-like sound. Overall, the violin itself doesn't look that bad. I don't know if I would pay the price that they're asking for it, though. The last one we'll look at and get excited for this one is a Stradivarius violin for $1,000. It says original case, which is not an asset, made in Czechoslovakia, so not a real Stradivarius. And when I look at this, I don't see anything super special. I see something where if you really spent the money to refinish it, maybe swap out the fingerboard, if you did put strings and a bridge and a tailpiece on, it could be a decent instrument, but I'm not seeing anything that's worth $1,000 as is. And then their only other picture is a zoomed in label where it says Stradivarius. If you're out looking for a violin, remember two things. You're not likely going to find a Stradivarius, and any label that mentions the word Stradivarius does not make it more valuable. Like my violin, it has the maker's name, and then it says that it was modeled after a particular Guarneri violin, which just has to do with small changes in shape and design, and the average person isn't going to care about those things. So there's no reason you have to spend the extra money for those things. Anyway, I like looking at old violins. Hope you took something from this video. Thanks for watching.